I want to ask you one question. What if retirement never comes? Not because you didn't save enough, not because you weren't responsible, but because life happens. Maybe your health changes. Maybe someone you love gets sick. Maybe tomorrow simply isn't promised. For most of my life, I believe exactly what most Americans are taught: work hard, save money, sacrifice today so someday you can finally start living. But somewhere along the way, I realized something. Maybe someday is today. I'm Randall. I'm a father, a small business owner, someone who's completely changed the way I look at life. Now, I'm not saying everyone should live like I do. I'm simply sharing the decision that changed my life. Back in 2017, I started asking myself a difficult question. Why am I spending so much money on holidays that are over in one day? Christmas, Halloween, birthdays. The gifts, they were exciting for about a week, sometimes even less. The newest video game became old practically overnight. The newest toy ended up in a closet or broken right away. The newest gadget got replaced by something newer. And then I'd do it all over again next year. That's when I realized I wasn't buying memories. I was buying moments that disappeared. So I made a decision. Come up with a new family tradition almost. Instead of creating a Christmas budget, I created a make memories fund. Every dollar I would have spent trying to impress someone with another gift started going towards experiences. That completely changed my relationship with my son. Instead of opening presents, we started opening maps. Where should we go next? That was the great question, the great debate. Disney, the Oregon coast, sand dunes in New Mexico, I highly recommend. ATV riding in Arizona, Seattle, Japan. One adventure led to another. Years later, neither of us remembers every gift, but remember almost every trip. We remember the conversations, the laughs, the random roadside stops, the adventures that didn't go according to plan, being stuck at LAX. We're not going to talk about that. Ironically, those became the best memories. Something happened that I never expected. As I shifted my focus from collecting things to collecting experiences, I personally noticed changes in my life. I felt less pressure to make every holiday perfect. Instead of stressing over a shopping list, I found myself looking forward to our next adventure. I also noticed I wasn't dealing with the same level of everyday stress I used to feel. I can't say that this lifestyle would have the same effect for everyone, but for me, slowing down, making room for meaningful experiences has been one of the healthiest decisions I've ever made. Here's the biggest lesson I've learned. People say, I'll travel when I retire. I'll climb that mountain someday. I'll visit that national park later. I'll take my kids when things slow down. But life doesn't always wait. Our bodies change. Our energy changes. Sometimes our priorities change. Sometimes the people we plan to travel with aren't able to go anymore. None of us knows what the next 20 years will bring. That doesn't mean we should ignore retirement planning. It means we should also make room to live along the way. One of the biggest myths I hear is, I can't afford to travel. I've been debunking that myth for years, by the way. So reach out to me and ask for some of those tips. But sometimes that's true. Can't afford to. But many times people are surprised by what's possible with a little planning. I've helped families put together weekend getaways, including flights, hotels, and even a rental car for around $300 for the whole weekend. Now they just have to pay for meals, depending on the destination, travel dates, and availability. You don't have to fly around the world. You don't need a luxury resort. Sometimes a 2-day road trip creates memories that can last a lifetime. Did you know? It's crazy. But if you save even $25 from each paycheck, that fund starts growing. For some people, that might mean cutting back in one area. For others, it could come from finding savings somewhere else. As an independent insurance agent, I often help clients lower their insurance costs by comparing multiple companies. Sometimes those savings become the start of a family travel fund. That's one of my favorite parts of what I do, helping people protect what matters while making room for experiences they'll never forget. I'm not saying stop celebrating Christmas. I'm not saying don't buy gifts. I'm saying ask yourself one question. What will your children remember 20 years from now? The latest gaming console? Or the weekend you spent watching the sunrise together? The expensive toy? Or the road trip where you laughed the entire drive home? One day, my son probably won't remember every present I gave him, but I hope he'll remember climbing mountains with dads. Well, we never really climbed a mountain, but we walked up Mount Fuji in Japan. Watching airplanes take off while we're on a layover. Trying foods we've never tasted before. He's way more adventurous than I'll ever be. Getting lost together and figuring out where to go. Because memories appreciate. Stuff, gifts, depreciate usually. If this message resonated with you, I'd love to hear your thoughts. What's one experience you've always wanted to have with someone you love? Maybe this is the year you stop waiting.